Okay, hello, we're finally doing this. Um, I'm the developer of Five Nights at Freddy's Rewritten, and Five Nights at Freddy's Rewritten 87, the sequel, or a prequel, or whatever. Um, a while ago, let's see, 4 months ago, HorrorScoped made a video showing secrets from my game. Um, and he got a lot wrong, but not because he doesn't know stuff about game development, because I don't know stuff about game development, and I did things in such bizarrely wrong ways that he guessed wrong. Um, so I thought it'd be funny to make a video that went over all of the things that he got wrong, and then show what stupid reason they're actually there for. Um, and I wanted to do this a while ago, but then I just never had the time to make a script or edit things, so I was like, I don't have to make a script or edit things. I've got my recording software, I've got the video here, I've got Unity in another tab, so hopefully it's gonna be cool and funny even though it's not scripted. Um, just Breaking Bad poster shows up. I get to show some funny stuff. Um, but because my recording setup sucks, I'm going to mute myself whenever I play the video. Um, and then I'll just try to coordinate that. It's gonna come on the screen like that, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be annoying. But I don't want echo for you guys, so I'm gonna try this out. And I'm gonna skim through the video because that would be evil if I just played the whole video inside of this one. Then you'd have no reason to watch their video on the game. Okay, I'll probably edit it a little bit, so I'll watch the video myself, and then I'll edit to the first thing I'm gonna talk about.
So we're going to start our coverage at the intro cutscene, and with the room lit up a bit more, we can see everything a lot more clearly. Shaggy, William Afton, stands in this huge checkered room talking to the player. Here we can get a much better look at this model too. I also managed to clip inside the model to see the body as well, though it's just a gray textureless model. He also apparently
The first thing, also, the video's at 1.25 speed, so I can get through these a bit faster. But that's not just a random gray model. It's actually taken from the Springtrap model I made. I think I did a video on it, um, and I just took the corpse texture off of the corpse and then put a black material on it. Um, Obviously, he would have no way of knowing that. I just thought that would be fun to say that that's Springtrap's corpse, but obviously that doesn't make sense right now. I just needed there to be a shadow of a person in there when you see him, so then it doesn't look like he's just floating suit parts, you know? Um, okay, back to the video.
fell victim to an acupuncturist gone rogue, which can't feel too good. After he disappears, we can find another copy of Spring
Really quick, I talk about this in the extras menu of the first game, but the rings on the back of the characters in my game are supposed to be the spring lock mechanisms. Um, so like if they're pushed in and twisted, then that means the endoskeleton stuff is in place, and if they're pulled out, that means it's in suit mode. So that's what those are, and they're also on the withered animatronics as well, only on their torso because it's only used for repairs. Like it just latches on to the main body and then off. Um, but it ends up being perfect for William to use in the scene that comes after this.
A sequence starts where another Freddy suit appears, and the head rises above.
Not something he got wrong, but I just wanted to talk about this scene because I usually don't talk about the game too much. But uh, that's what I talked about earlier, where this whole sequence is you being stuffed inside the torso. These guys are huge, so you play as Gabriel at the start of the game. He just crams the kid in there. Obviously, there's no model for the kid, but he puts the head on, tightens the spring locks, and that's how he performs the missing children's incident in this game. Um, I am not a big fan of like Spring Bonnie with a knife. Um, I think it's fun, but I just don't think it matches the character I was creating. So I thought it'd be cooler if he used the animatronics themselves to kill the children, but not in like a sister location way where like they were the killers. Um, and it's cool because then when he gets spring locked himself, It's kind of a fun punishment.
Since there's another section of this restaurant loaded in where the animatronics will perform to some classical music. Before this is triggered, we can actually find a few things hidden out of bounds, like these three charming lads waiting to be warped onto the show stage. They're next to a cube, although its purpose is a mystery. There's
Me being bad at game development, I guess first example of that. This is just the blend file for them, or FBX or whatever, without the materials put on properly. I put it out of bounds to test the animations and then just forgot to ever delete them. Um, but I was instead of just like taking time and really like learning animation importing, I was just winging it, and so every time it wouldn't work, I just try a different setting and then shove it in, and then just keep deleting it and putting it back in and whatever. So these guys are just left over from that. They serve no purpose now, but they were helpful. And the cube was just like their parent. So then like I was trying to make them all in like the same animation, whatever. Um, but they're not warped to the stage. I That's actually something that you should do in game development is have things that are waiting out of bounds and then warp them into the main scene, because that skips like when you add something to the scene for the first time, it causes like shaders to compile, which can cause stuttering. So if you have it all out of bounds at the start of the game, there's just one loading screen for the shaders to compile, and then everything's there. And then so then when you have something appear for the first time, it was actually there already, and the computer doesn't have to shader compile for the first time. I don't do that in FNAF Rewritten, and that's bad. And that's why every time like a character shows up or something, the game will sometimes stutter. It's because I was stupid.
three charming lads waiting to be warped onto the show stage. They're next to a cube, although its purpose is a mystery. There's a few assets hidden outside of our typical view. Mangle's ball pit is here, as well as a bunch of animatronic models that will just hover in the void out of our sight. Not all of them are active currently, and by activating them all at the same time, I totally tanked my game's performance. There's not a ton to see here, so let's start night one and
I don't know if he was misunderstanding or just abbreviating things, but the characters behind the logo are separate than the ones out of bounds. These ones show up to be the silhouettes in the fog, um, and they will randomly flicker on and off, whatever. The ones that he was flying through out here are actually the footage that shows up. Like you can see Toy Freddy here. Like the footage in the 87 logo is actually live rendered. There's a camera that goes around the map, and we'll record them and put them
a bunch
onto
of
the
animatronic
logo.
models.
Oh my gosh. We will record them and put it onto the logo. And that's like you can see the ball pit here. Anything that shows up on the logo is actually somewhere in the world. Um, that's what that is. Probably none of them animate, so I should have probably just had images. But you know, I was doing things weird ways.
On the other side of the level, there's also this strange, disconnected door by the parts and service entrance. I'm not certain if this is used for something later on, but I didn't recognize it during my playthrough, so I can't say for sure.
I don't know if anyone notices, but this asset isn't used anywhere. I do use a door that has a window, but it's not this graded window. I had a graded window in FNAF 1 Rewritten. These are actually the same models as the doors in FNAF 1 Rewritten. I just retextured them, and I had a version that did have the like wired window. I didn't end up using it because it didn't feel fitting with the location design.
And inside is a moving fan. On a scarier note, there's an animated model for Shadow Bonnie as well, which is honestly freaking me out. If ever there was a time for a no loitering sign, this is it. I think I have an idea what this is used for, but we'll get to that a bit later on.
This map, he's out here doing nothing. Once again, like I said, I'm stupid and nothing out of bounds gets warped into scene. Everything's just turned on and turned off, and vice versa for the detriment of the shader compiling times. But this guy, I was posing in the office because I made the model. I was still intending it for it to work similarly to how it did before the overhaul, where it would stand in the office and stare at you in the corner, similar to the original Easter egg in FNAF 2. But I didn't end up doing that. I just moved him out of bounds after I posed him and didn't delete him. and he's probably causing trouble because he's gotten like a shader going on. It's probably not great to have going on out there. Um, and then the vent is from the actual gameplay. That's where the camera shot is. Um, I don't need that out there on this map either, because this map is different from the map that plays when you're in the night like sequence. So I just need to get better at deleting stuff like that. But
for the puppet, we can move the camera to the little gift box and take a look inside. And she's clearly eager to pop out. Weirdly, there's a second copy of the box down below the map as well, but I don't know exactly what it's used for since it never moved during gameplay.
I don't know either. It's definitely not used for anything at all. But unlike the other things where I'm like, oh yeah, I was doing this and then I forgot it out there. I don't know why that's out there. So that's cool.
Scene will take place where you're viewing the room from inside Freddy's suit. From another angle, we can see that Freddy's head is the same as the mask in the office, so he doesn't exactly look right. As for the map itself, there are multiple rooms that will be used later on for these post-night sequences. On night 2, the puppet will be staring you down from outside the Freddy mask, but the way this looks from another angle is hilarious. She's just staring at you point blank, and as we turn our head, the entire model moves with it. It looks ridiculous from this perspective, and it feels like she's just trying to be obnoxious like this. Also, Freddy's body disappeared during this cutscene? Glorious! There's not much more to these sequences, but I just had to make sure you all got to witness this.
Freddy's body is only there for the first cutscene, just because I wanted like to show like his hand shaking as the cutscene went off. But for all the other ones, it's gone just because of like this scene. The puppet would be clipping into the arms and stuff, and it's not like you can look down. So I just didn't have it. His pants shouldn't be there either, but they persevered. Probably just me being lazy. And then the puppet is huge. She's not canonically that big, but just so she could show up in the camera's view in a cool way and have the lighting be a bit nicer on her than if she was smaller because of the shadow resolutions. Um, yeah.
Putting a pin in our animatronic pals, there are a couple of things hidden in the office itself that you likely didn't know about. First, there's an object called Breaking Bad hidden underneath the office. After enabling it, we can see that it's quite literally Breaking Bad. I have no idea why, but this is an actual Breaking Bad poster that was just hidden in the game's files. What even? On the topic of things hidden in the office, there's also an endo that we can
And the Breaking Bad poster is from well, like I think it was the first time I properly showed The Office when I was developing the game on my social media accounts. It was on April Fools, and I shine the light in the hallway, and in a reference to Wayne Radio TV's Breaking Bad VR stream, the Breaking Bad poster walks across the hallway with Half-Life 2 footstep sounds. Let me see if it's actually still here. Another awesome, horrible thing from the development of this game is I didn't care to organize things, especially early on. This game I've been working on for 3 years. Didn't expect it to last 3 years. Was hoping it'd only be a few months. There are animations in the scene folder. That's stupid. But let me try to remember the name of the night scene. And then search for Breaking Bad. Okay, where is it? It's down here. Oh boy. Forgot that I can't. Okay. Let me see if its animation is still here. It is! Okay. So if I move it back up to here, and then play the animation. So this is what was supposed to happen. So it would waddle into the hallway and then look around and then leave. Move it up a little bit more, and then I'll really quick go into gameplay and shine my flashlight so you can see what it looks like in game. Just gonna wait for it to show up. Pretty awesome.
I just stands here staring at the player, and it doesn't look super impressed with you either. Beyond this,
Um, this was just when I made the model and wanted to see what he looked like in lighting. I just put him in the office with lighting. There wasn't any like scrapped encounter with him or anything. I just wanted to see what the model looked like in the engine, and then I turned him off instead of deleting him because, of course.
there's a couple of objects hidden in the hallway as well, but they aren't much friendlier. First is a giant Fredbear head that spawns in front of the door, and the other is a Golden Freddy head that's closer to the office. These are used a bit later on in the game's final night, but we can force spawn it, as you can see here, for a closer look.
Only the Fredbear model that, like the first one he showed, is used later on. This one was before the overhaul, back when I was using Help Wanted retextures, and this was my Golden Freddy design. This was for an update that never came out, and I, as a joke with my friends, I just posed it like this with an eyebrow raised and shined the flashlight down the hallway for a screenshot. And I thought I deleted it, but I guess not.
Shadow Bonnie also makes an appearance here, but I think this one is only here to crash the party and creep you out, like a total jerk.
Pretty much what I said earlier with the first scene. I just had this pose there to see what he looked like in engine and stuff, and there was originally going to be, like, his mechanic would be that he'd show up there, and then that didn't end up happening.
On the desk, we can find several objects called charity frames, and these appear next to the fan on the right. As far
But yeah, there was a charity campaign for the PCRF. If you donated a certain amount and gave me your an image and like whatever, like you on the donation thing, you'd tell me what your name on Twitter was, so then I could see your reply to the post, and then I'd put the image that you sent me in the frame of your choice. And if you type in that code on the main menu, it'll show up on your desk, and you get to have it for the whole game. Um, there's some stuff for people who've worked on the game that are in there as people who didn't donate but just helped. But that was with the first like nights 1 through 5 release, and then I don't think I got any more donations after that, so I didn't make any more. But it was fun. I'm glad people donated, and there's quite a few, and then just some fun personal ones. Yeah.
far as I know, these frames contain images referencing users who donated during a previous fundraising event, and so each of them has a unique name and photo, which you can see me cycling through here. I'm not sure what the specific codes are, but we can still view all 13 of them like this, which is pretty cool. So throughout your playthrough, you'll gain access to these arcade minigames. These are inspired by the original arcade minigames in FNAF 2, but these versions are pulled off in a really interesting way. The game doesn't take place in an arcade machine after all, but instead a separate location way up in the sky. The minigame floats in this space in front of a massive dark wall, and I believe the version we see during gameplay is a projection placed inside of an actual arcade machine. It's neat watching this game function from another angle though.
Did that because I knew I was gonna have like 3D characters come through the screen and stuff like you see later. Um, but I really should have had the camera like mask certain objects, because right now it's just two cameras, one for the player and one for the arcade machine that renders this, and the one for the arcade machine can also see everything else in the level. That's why I have that dark wall, so it doesn't see things. But that dark wall doesn't matter because that's not how game engines work, and it's processing all that data anyway. Um, so, if you've ever been playing the game and for some reason the retro mini games are the laggiest part, that's why. Um, and my fix for it is that instead of there being two cameras at the same time in the setting, you can do full screen mini games. It turns off the player camera and you just see through the mini game camera. Um, so that's been in the settings for a bit. If you have that problem, you should toggle that setting and just play them in full screen. I'm really sorry that I made it so shitty.
There's something interesting hidden here too. I was able to manually load in 5 missing child posters. Each of them had their own portrait and a date they were last seen. At the bottom right, there's also a smaller version loaded in too. And it's cool seeing all of these at the same time. I loaded in.
I was surprised to see this because I don't remember what I was ever gonna use these for in the mini games. But yeah, these posters were drawn by my partner at Punk Circus on Instagram. You guys should go check them out. But they drew all of these for the first game, and you can see them all over the first game. They're like hallucinations that'll appear on the cameras, and then the Cassidy one will show up all over your office, and the Golden Freddy night. Super cool art. I love them. Go check out their other work. They also did the logo on the logbook and on the front of the building. Um, yeah.
We find Mangle waiting for us to arrive with our poor Freddy plush in their jaws. As soon as we walk into the room, this enemy is warped beneath the stairs where they look through the fence at you. At this point, I also realized we had a friend waiting outside the level too. There's a model for Toy Foxy hanging out in this area for some reason, but they never move an inch during our playthrough. I don't actually know if this animatronic makes an appearance during gameplay, so I found it super strange that this character was in the level at all.
They're just out here because I had them posed up in that ball pit scene to take screenshots for the posters that you see around the game. And I just threw them out of the room and didn't delete them because that's just why everything is here in this video.
They're not alone either, since the withered animatronics can be found waiting out of bounds during this scene as well. As this night plays out, there are tons of objects that flash on screen, including a bunch of endo parts and a door with Spring Bunny hiding behind it. We can force spawn these objects and take a look around, but I may have made the place a bit claustrophobic. We also can't see the Spring Bunny model very well during a regular playthrough, but we can take a closer look now since he won't despawn. He's leaning against the door with his legs weirdly stretched out, and it's really weird moving the camera around normally with all these assets active at the same time. These balloons will all
Actually, I'll just let him talk about this, and then I'll go into this whole scene in a very spoilery way. I'll put a spoiler warning at the start. You've already seen it. Because I want to talk about this scene, I've seen a lot of people nail right, like completely nailed it, what it was, which as expected, it's not super like complex scene. Like once it ends, you kind of get an idea of what happens. But there's still some people who are confused as to what's happening here, so I'll give like a proper lore explanation, but I'm gonna wait for him to go over all of the aspects of it.
also appear on this night to cover your cameras, and this is what the level looks like with all of them active. Once again, super claustrophobic. On another note, I'm pretty sure this is the night where the Shadow Bonnie model I mentioned earlier is used. This character appears inside your cameras. Scary to the night.
Yes, the Shadow Bunny model is used, but it's not that one because I just have duplicates of them everywhere, and that's not how you should do it. But okay, so the ending scene of the epilogue, Mike has a flashback, kind of so like I don't know if people noticed, but Mike has those like apparitions that flash on in his vision.
All night. And the first thing I did.
I need to mute the video for a moment. But yeah, you saw there, he has those like flickering faces that show up across the screen. Supposed to be obviously a reference to the ones from FNAF 1, but also like kind of building up to the phantoms in FNAF 3. So like because there's not stuff, I mean obviously the shadows and stuff, but not as crazy as the ones in FNAF 1, I kind of worked that into the story where Mike has this like poor grip on reality, and so all these hallucinations and stuff kind of only happen to him. When you're playing as Jeremy in the game, none of that happens. There's no like blink and you miss it things on the cameras. Anything that is like that is actually there physically. Where when you play as Mike in FNAF 1, all of the like the missing posters and stuff are all kind of hallucinations, and I think like I want to have it so like the spirits like can take advantage of this problem he has to convey information through those hallucinations, and maybe this scene is the puppet taking advantage of that to
Plays out.
put his guard down. But he has a flashback about the night he accidentally killed his brother, the bite of 83. Um, and that's kind of what drew him to the epilogue night to begin with, is because hearing of an animatronic biting someone's head off seems eerily similar to what happened years prior. That was his fault. So he breaks into the building after Jeremy's death to see what's up, because he's already been suspicious of his dad for a long time. And if you know about the Mike memory unlisted videos on my channel, then you know that this is, at this point, it's not his first time having an encounter with Charlie, the puppet, or just possessed characters in general. And he was specifically warned to not come back, but also was kind of evilly told that his brother is still here. So it's like he's just very morbidly curious and decides to ignore the wishes of the puppet to come back here and figure out what's going on. But yeah, so he has this big flashback about specifically this scene with like the William Afton monologue. Is it happens, things are going crazy, and Mike runs into the parts and service room and locks the door, and William is banging on the door, yelling at him from the other side, still in his Spring Bonnie performer suit. Maybe that's why he has the confidence to talk all this shit to Mike. But yeah, that's what the scene is. It was originally supposed to be his bedroom, but I just thought it would be cooler to have it be like right after, and that's the moment that he's being pulled back to. And then also I can revisit this set piece if I have a game that shows a bit of Fredbear's. Unmute the video and mute me.
And take a closer look now, since he won't despawn. He's leaning against the door with his legs weirdly stretched out, and it's really weird moving the camera around normally with all these assets active at the same time. These balloons will also appear on this
are also part of that scene. It's all the balloons for his brother's birthday at Fredbear's Family Diner. But yeah, I thought that would be fun because most players at this point are looking at their camera, so I think it was fun to catch them off guard, and then also allow them to open their camera if it wasn't already open. Because when they open their camera, see this, and close it, the Freddy mask is replaced with the Foxy mask that Mike wore on that day. Which I know a lot of people connected the dots and stuff, and that's why he still has his Foxy mask. It was minutes after it happened, and he was hiding in the room. Which, makes William's actions seem even grosser, given that his other son is like his body, or possibly still struggling to live, or like fighting, or paramedics came or whatever, and he's coming here and choosing to yell at Michael instead of deal with that. But that's a little rough. Again, the decision to have it actually take place minutes after the bite instead of be a flashback to him in his room later that night was very last minute. So I think it works well, but it's not a perfectly executed thing.
claustrophobic. On another note, cameras, since the area brightened while up and shares a name in the game's files. In general, it's interesting to view this ending sequence with the area brightened up, and it's a lot less scary when viewed like this. The giant heads in the hallway are still terrifying though, while this model has actually been active for the entirety of our playthrough, hidden above the rest of the level where we can't see them. There's actually
about this in another video. This is not true. It's really funny. Once again, I never have things out of bounds and warp them in because I'm bad. This is an edited, or you can see it doesn't have the accessories like the bow tie or the frills, because this was when the FNAF 2 movie trailer came out and we got the little snippet of Puppet holding Charlie. One of my friends wanted to do fan art and asked if I could use my puppet model and pose it in like she had like the statue as a reference, um, and she wanted to know if I could pose it like that, so then she can use it as reference when drawing, um, and that's what this is. Originally, she was holding a really warped Balloon Boy model, which I think you can still see in the like last in like the first behind the scenes video I made. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really funny when he found it because I forgot it was out there because I never delete things.
Two copies of this character out here, but I can't say for sure what the other one was used for since they remained static for the entirety of my playthrough. And with that, that's everything I found behind the scenes in FNAF Rewritten 87. I hope you enjoyed today's game-breaking adventure, and I'll see all of you.
You guys enjoyed, and you guys should watch the whole video because obviously I will be cutting a lot out in editing, anything I didn't comment on. Um, and he covered a lot of cool stuff that was just like showing my work with different camera angles, which is cool, and it's cool to see what people think about that. Um, but yeah, I just thought it was funny because I'm bad at, well, I've gotten better. You guys should still play my next game. But this game I started this before FNAF 1 Rewritten, back when I was using Help Wanted models. Um, and I just wasn't caring about any sense of quality at all. I wasn't researching things at all. Um, and it came out as a game that apparently was awesome and a lot of people really liked. Internally, it sucked to work on in engine. It was poorly organized. It was poorly optimized. Um, it's a miracle it came out the way it did. But I've learned my lesson. I've been putting a lot of work into making sure my next project is better than that. Um, Speaking of my next project, I'm working on a new horror game called Calamity County. It's also got animatronics, um, survival horror. Going on my channel really quick because I've posted this one little YouTube short about it, which you should look at. I'm slowly gonna post more. I'm really scared to post about it because I care a lot about this project, and I feel like I have to make high effort posts for it, but it's probably not good because I'm spending all my effort actually making the game, so I don't have time to be putting out high quality videos. So I'm just gonna start posting behind the scenes stuff. I posted about the first character we got into engine and how I did that. Um, this one I've actually got a pretty big team helping me with, which is awesome. It's all volunteers. We're gonna be putting the game on Steam, and any revenue we get, we plan to donate to organizations that help people who are affected by the like unfair immigrant policies and enforcement that's going on in the U.S. We're all mostly in either live in or are in Southern California for school, so it's something that affects a lot of our friends and family. But that's why we're making that game. It's cool. It's like a survival horror game, but whenever you pull out your gun, it turns into a rail shooter. And we got a lot of fun animatronic designs. We got a really cool story that we just like kind of were finalizing the last bits of. Um, it's really cool. I really can't wait for you guys to see more of that, and I hope you guys are excited too. Um, but yeah, and because the game's for charity, any videos I post about it, I will also be donating revenue. Um, and I'll document that. But I've been making like no money off of YouTube, which is why I'm not doing a ton of effort editing. Which is why I'm not doing a ton of effort editing this video. I'm just recording myself talking. Um, but yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope I got to show some cool stuff. And please subscribe so you can see other stuff I'm making. Yay!
Was that the Rewritten Bite of 87?